Well, good afternoon and welcome once again to Ed's Orchids. Now I thought what I'd have just a quick one today, just looking at some of these plants we put in the moss. I'm not expecting any miracles, and I think some plants might do well in them and some plants might not do so well in them. So I've just picked 6 out, and we'll have a look at these 6. Now the first one we'll have a look at is this Paphiopedilum Angel Hair. Feels very light. Now the only problem I'm finding with moss is that it dries very quickly, and you're having to water the top, you know, every day, just a little spray every day. But if you take it out of the pot, and I think I might find it on this one, the bottom will be wet through. So you've got a real big problem for when you're using moss. And I'm a bit like that, whether to go straight back to bark again once the little roots have started growing. So we'll just take this out and have a look at it. Now you see what I mean? That's as dry as a bone here, and underneath it's wet. Oh, and I can see a root. That's good. So it looks like it's, see, it just drops to pieces because it's so dry. So we'll take it out. There's another root there. So you can see there. I'll get the camera so you can get a bit closer. Unless I walk around the camera and show you that way without me moving the camera. There we are, you can see a nice root growing there. And another one there. So I think I'll put this back into bark later on today and start watering and feeding well. Next one we'll look at is this seedling of Paphiopedilum colopekinghii. And we'll take this stick out. You see the stick at the bottom there is absolutely wet through. If you just touch your lips with it, you can feel it wet. But I bet it's not wet around the roots. This is the trouble with it drying out too quickly. Well, that's not very good, is it? That's not very good at all. There's one little new growth there and one little new growth there. So there you can see the little roots growing on the colopekinghii. See them just there. These aren't roots behind them, it's all moss that. And some more little, oh, it's going out of focus, some more little roots coming out of there right at the bottom. So it's not doing too badly, but not as well as I'd hoped. Now the next one is Michael Kupovitz cross Rothschildianum crossed Anitum, and I've had this since 2017. Shows you how good I am at growing paths. Right, we'll just take this one out. I'm not expecting anything on here. And I'm not getting anything on here. Absolutely nothing. No. That'll have to go back into bark. And I'm beginning to think the best way to do these is use bark, a few grow stones, and mix a little bit of live moss in, or sphagnum moss, something like that, or horticultural foam, which you can't get these days, but I've got a bit left. I mean, I must say though that these roots aren't very good on this. Well, they're bad on this one. It's got a new growth in the middle, so we'll attend to that shortly. A Paphiopedilum dianum. So I don't know what's happened to this one. We'll have a look. The leaves look okay. But once again, bone dry on top, but damp at the bottom. I'll just get the camera and have a look at this. There's no spectacular growth on this dianum, but as you can see, there's a new root growing there. So I think this is going back into bark, you know, with a bit of chopped up moss in as well. I think that might be the idea. I think it might be the best thing to do anyhow. Is this Paphiopedilum parishii? So we'll just see what's happening to this one. It was doing okay before, but what it's doing now, I've no idea. There's a new growth coming up in the middle there, so it might not be too bad underneath. Once again, this is bone dry on top and damp at the bottom. Well, this hasn't made any large improvements, although there's two new growths and the new growth is sticking to the moss. So just get the camera and have a quick look. Well, you can see there 1, 2, 3 new growths, if we can get it into focus. There we are, and there's the moss that is stuck to the roots. What to do with this? Well, these are totally different, these parishii, because they are found growing on trees most of the time. So if they're found growing on trees, you know, you don't really need to put them in bark, I don't think. But if I put this in bark again, some larger bark, say 14 to 18 millimeters, with some moss, growth stones, etc., then I think it should do a little bit better than this. And as I said before, some plants will adapt to this and some won't. So you've just got to experiment, and I'm always experimenting with things. Sometimes they go right, sometimes they go wrong, but if you don't experiment, you'll never find out. And the last one for today is Paphiopedilum Magic Lantern. Beautiful thing, this. And I've grown this from a seed. Well, not a seed, a seedling. We'll just have a look at it. Once again, bone dry on top and wet underneath. You know, I'm wondering if the bone dry on top doesn't matter. Will the roots eventually go down to where the water is? Because it's a well-known fact, where there's water, the roots will find it. Wow, these roots have done well. So I think I'll keep this in moss. We'll just get the camera and have a good look at these. Well, this one is doing very nicely. New root there. A brand new root there, and this one is a new root growth from an old root. You see there, that's where the old root went down to, and it had been chopped off and it started growing again. So that's doing alright. I think I might leave it. No, I won't. I'll put this back in bark with a bit of moss as well. So that's Paphiopedilum Magic Lantern. Well, I'll just finish up by showing you these Paphiopedilum farianums that I got sort of, how long was it, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. and they're doing all right. I've just kept them in the kitchen, kept them where it's cold during the night time, and it doesn't warm up very much during the day. It probably gets up to 17 or 18, and we're showing new growths on them. New growth are there. None on that one yet. And 2 on this one if I move the label. Well, they're doing very, very nicely. Paphiopedilum farianum. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you to all my subscribers. I do appreciate it. And if you like what you've seen, just give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd much appreciate it if you did. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.